G'day folks. Oh, it's one of those Monday afternoons where it gets cold and dark very quickly because it's, well, heading into winter time. It's only 5:30 and it's dark outside and cold. So we sit in here and we ramble about things and maybe look at a few other things in the workshop tonight. But yeah, I've got the week off next week, so probably do a full week of work this week, including Friday. The RAV4's out at the workshop. I drove her in today, so they've got it for 4 days, I think. They can do whatever they want, which is good. I should have her back by the end of the week. New clutch, boots and grease of the drive shafts, because the CV boots were starting to crack. Not come apart, but just the rubber was showing stress cracks in the minor diameter of the concertina. Like turn full lock and you just see them starting to split. So perfect time to do them. Rotors machined, all that stuff. Rear main seal while they've got the flywheel off being machined. Yeah, got to do it. Do it all while it's out and apart, and do it properly. I can handle the cooling system and all that stuff. That's easy enough. I'll put all new hoses and a radiator in it anyway. Even though it's been recode about 27,000 ago, might as well replace it anyway, because the plastic tanks don't get replaced, and the plastic tanks are what fail. So yeah, big topic for the week, I suppose you call it the big elephant in the room, is the closure of the Ford manufacturing facilities in 2016. That's not good. Our car makers have been in trouble for a while. Toyota's laid off people, Holden's laid off people and been taking government grants and stuff to stay operating. Ford's taken government grants and had layoffs and things, and now they've just admitted they're closing doors in 2016, which is a damn shame, because Ford and Holden make up the backbone of Australian car manufacturing. I know Toyota has a plant here where they make limited numbers of cars like Camrys and Orions, which is also a good thing, but I don't think Nissan makes anything here. I know they have an engine plant or die casting plants. They certainly have die casting plants. I don't know if they make all the engines here, but Nissan has a small foot in the door, but I don't think they'd be expanding it anytime soon, given our labour costs and stuff like that. There are a lot of reasons why car makers and just big industries in general are going under, like BlueScope Steel. They folded because of expenses, the impending carbon tax, which is now in effect. And another big nail in most of these businesses' coffins is, well, I know I'm going to piss off some of my subscribers, but unions. I don't like the way unions keep pushing up wages to ridiculous levels. I know they're trying to serve the best interest of the workers, but there's also a lot of greed and a lot of bullshit going on in the background, like shutdowns, blockades, picket lines, all that sort of stuff. It costs manufacturers a lot of money, and as an industrialist and manufacturing enthusiast myself, I can't stand to see that sort of thing happen. It costs manufacturers and building sites a lot of money. Grocon Corporation, or Grocon Constructions, has big issues with CFMEU. They are constantly shutting down the sites because of minor things. I know there are safety issues, and a lot of people will say their lives have been saved by the union. I've heard it all before. There's common sense, and then there's just over-the-top bullshit, and a lot of deliberate shutdowns too. I know ex-union guys who used to see people sabotaging things in order to shut the site down early on Fridays, and if they didn't get paid out for the full Friday, you wouldn't see them there the next week, and the construction company didn't want that, so they just went along with it. It was basically holding them to ransom. So I know there are probably a lot of union members watching this, whether you're electrical trades union or manufacturing or automakers union. I know the unions try and support the workers as best as possible, but they don't always support the manufacturers. And them combined with bad business decisions like Ford's AU Falcon, I don't think they ever recovered from that. That was a bit of a flop, not a very good car at all. And the carbon tax also has a lot to answer for it too, pushing up the price of electricity for the factories, everything you run in the factory, whether it's in automated equipment with PLCs and CNC machine motors in them, gas-fired furnaces for the foundry that makes the engine blocks and the crankshafts and things. It all gets carbon tax, it doesn't matter what it is. I know they give incentives to green your machinery, like get high efficiency VFDs fitted, high efficiency air conditioning for the offices, all that sort of stuff. It happens too slow. The initial impact of this carbon tax actually hurt quite a lot of businesses, and I know a lot of small ones that have gone out of business as a result. It's not looking good. So there's a lot of things to play in it, not just carbon tax, not just unions, bad business decisions and all sorts of other things. It's just a steady decline. OH&S regulations often cripple industries. A friend of mine at work worked for Snowy Hydro Project. They weren't even allowed to carry their toolbox if it was over a certain weight. They had to get a hoist from the roof, pick the toolbox up, put it on a trolley and then wheel it around. Even a big shifter or something, like a really big shifter, you couldn't carry that yourself even if you were comfortable doing it. You had to hook it onto a monorail and just roll it around on this monorail wire rope hoist. It's like, you spend an hour and a half setting up to do a 15-minute job. It was getting to that point. So that's what cripples industries and costs employers a lot of money. So yeah, I'm a big believer in common sense and that sort of thing. I know they're trying to make things as safe as possible, but it's coming at the cost of a lot of businesses and a lot of money. So yeah, you've got to weigh it up. I guess I shouldn't be the one making the decision on lives versus productivity, but when you're driving all your businesses out of the country, you've got to sort of take a bit of a look at it and think some of it's a bit over the top. I mean, I'm just a big believer in common sense. If you don't feel comfortable lifting it, don't do it, but there's no need to force everyone to not do it and cost the company so many hours a week, like lots of hours a week. You probably cost the equivalent of 2 persons' full weekly wages just in other people's time tied up with all this bullshit. Anyway, that's enough on that one. I'll post some links to the Ford Australia, just some bits and pieces on Ford Australia. I found this article from theage.com.au. There's a few history things. They're going through the history there. From the first car, which I think was a Model A or something, to the millionth car, which is, I can't remember what that is. Was it XK or something? Hard to say what they're saying there. But yeah, we've had our fair share of Fords. And I own one. I own an EB Fairmont. It's a great little car. Does its job. 4 litre straight 6, single overhead cam engine. Pretty bulletproof. But the Falcon name's going to die, and the Territory, well, they don't know. And the Territory could have really kicked goals overseas if they'd exported it. Especially in a diesel. They should have got a diesel into it right from the start and tackled the European market. There's a big 4 litre diesel, or a 3.5 litre diesel, and a 4 litre petrol 6, inline 6, rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. People would love them. They'd be a really good seller. But they didn't do it. So anyway, what else is on for tonight? Not a lot, probably just tidy up. Sort out that, I'll drain the oil out of this now that I know it works. Power steering oil pump for the turbocharger jet. Still got a lot to do on it. I might see if I can pull the bypass valve apart and put a really soft spring in it, just to minimise any risk of exploding pipelines if it does suddenly go high pressure, like blocks up. What else? Just sort stuff out. I moved a lot in after Saturday, and yeah, paper shredder to overload. That'll be a bit of fun. Yeah, it's getting cold in here. I better put the heat on. Anyway, I know a few people asked me to do a good rant on industry and stuff, and that's sort of what this is about. It's all up the shit in Australia. I mean, it could be better. I mean, it could be worse, but it could be better. Not when you've got companies like Ford going. I think that India or someone's going to be producing our Fords. If they got to go to a third world, or not third world, but developing country to get cars made for Ford or something like that, well, that's not particularly good. It just means that, well, you're outsourcing to a cheaper market with cheaper wages and cheaper regulations, or less regulations. Just like getting stuff like this made in China. You try and make a VFD in Australia, it'd cost you thousands. This costs like $130 straight out of China. Big difference. Probably big difference in reliability, but still. I could buy a lot more of these for a couple of $1,000. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't be afraid to post your opinions on it. I know a lot of people don't like unions, but I suppose back in the day it was alright, but I guess you can thank Maggie Thatcher for driving the big heavyweights out of England and over to here. That's where they originally came from, and they brought their heavy-handed tactics with them. So yeah, maybe we need another Maggie Thatcher over here who can drive them, or at least tell them to pull their heads in. We don't want to shut down or hurt industries as a result of it, or have them pull the pin on things, but maybe they just need a quiet reminder to pull their heads in and stop pushing things to ridiculous levels and picketing and blockading for no real good reason. Oh, thanks for watching. That's enough rants.